In a world where insanity reigns supreme and safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, it's comforting to know an ancient, fat, long-haired, bearded reprobate has your mind in mind. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California. And despite every attempt by the SHR Media Network to revoke his shameless contract, we return to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon.
I have come here to chew bubble gum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubble.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct, right here from the sumptuous and palatial, and quite frankly, resplendent SHR Media Studios, where I am broadcasting live behind enemy lines in occupied California. I am 2 miles east from the locus of evil on the entire left coast, downtown Sacramento, the evil Capitol building at 10th and L Street, where late at night, when I go out that door at about 10:30 in the evening, I can hear the death of common sense squalling in the night, saying, help me, is there no such thing as common sense in this capital? And the reply is, of course not. And then I'll smell the noxious and evil vapors of sulfur and brimstone also emanating from that evil building. You got to belly up to the bar. We've kept your seat, and it's great to see you back today. Tonight is July the 30th, the year of our Lord 2019. And Flackbait is going to be your bartender tonight. He pours with the best of them. The lava lamp is in fact lighted. You can see it over my shoulder to my left, your right. Well, first you can listen and chat at shrmedia.com. Only one chat room that I monitor, the chat room at shrmedia.com. So you got to go there quick like a bunny, the chat room at shrmedia.com. If you want to watch the show, because I'm simulcast 2 places, you can go to the SHR Media Facebook page. If you have Facebook, go to the Facebook page, and you'll be able to look for SHR Media. We're streaming there live right now, also on the SHR Media YouTube channel. This is easy. Go to YouTube. In the little query space up there where it says Q, put SHR Media. Find the SHR Media YouTube channel. We're streaming live there right now as well. Just wanted to let you know. Also, I can't forget to tell you this. We don't water our drinks, just like we don't water our conversation, politics, religion, crime, culture, economics, race, sex, science, law. We talk about it all right here at the Saloon. Nothing is sacred. The speech is free, but the booze is not. All we ask is that you flush the damn toilet, jiggle the handle, and don't forget to tip your waitress. Tonight in the Saloon will be the return of another resplendent one. That will be the loquacious Jeff Dunitz. In the chat room, my goodness gracious me. Look at how many people in the chat room. We have Mike. Welcome, Mike. The Alaskan. Welcome to the Alaskan. Mary Brockman. Welcome to Mary. Traveling Cynic TC. Good to see you. The Cynic Who Travels, otherwise known as. And Dave Milner, and one viewer who will not be unmasked because in the saloon. We don't unmask you. We're not Democrats. We don't play that stuff. If you want to remain masked, please do so. We just like to see your pretty face here. That's all. Jeff, let's see. 1 ringy-dingy. 2 ringy-dingy. 3 ringy-dingy. 4 ringy-dingy, and a Jeff Dunnitz ringy-dingy. How do you do, Jeff Dunnitz?
Person calling me?
No, I wasn't calling you. I would not disturb you like that. Far be it from me to disturb you at this late time of night. Because, folks, I need to emphasize this because it's only fair and it's only proper. Jeff Dunnitz is here out of the kindness and the well-oiled lubricant of his heart. He has violated no lubricant codes whatsoever to be here tonight. None. There were no violations. I want to state this up front, if I can. I merely wish to point out that it's 6 minutes after the hour at 8 o'clock on the far left coast. On the far right coast where Jeff lives, it is 11:06, which is really, really, really late. So anytime Jeff comes on, always want to make sure that I give him props for being here, because this is live, and it actually costs Jeff valuable man hours and sleeping hours to be here in the saloon. So my greatest appreciations to you.
This is one of the most fun things I can do with my clothes on.
Well, thank you. Perhaps this is the time where I inject something similar to, and I'm glad it's on audio and not video.
No, I'm dressed.
Okay, all right. Mary Brockman in chat says, ask Jeff how Alexa is.
Alexa had an operation last week.
I'm sorry, go ahead, sir.
And she had a hip operation, and thank God, little by little, she's doing better and better.
Okay. Alrighty.
You know, she's still on crutches. She has her stitches removed next week. And thank God she's doing better. Good.
Outstanding. Outstanding. I was aware, so shame on me. Or I was unaware, I should say, so shame on me for being unaware.
I have to make a stunning admission before we start.
Okay. How stunning?
Tonight.
Is it sufficiently stunning that I require this?
Well, as somebody who does politics for a living, I didn't watch the debate tonight. I had a choice of that or America's Got Talent. And actually, I chose America's Got Talent.
Wow. Okay.
I knew what they were going to say.
I chose that, or I could have cleaned my fish tank. So, folks, don't throw darts at me just yet. I did watch the debates, only a sufficient amount of time to make kind of a startling revelation insofar as it wasn't going exactly where I thought it was going to go. We'll get into the debates in a bit, and I will elucidate and extrapolate and expand about what it is that I have just seen. However, prior to that, as I am wont to do, folks, every day you need to go quick like a bunny, as I indicate, to lidblog.com. 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 That is where Jeff Dunnitz writes, and he writes every day, except Saturday and Sunday. I don't think you write on the weekends at all.
I write on Sunday.
Do you write on Sunday? Okay.
And sometimes Saturday night. I don't write during the Jewish Sabbath.
Okay. Alrighty. However, I would like to point this out. Jeff's blog is an extremely active blog. So if you think that you're going to go there and you'll see, he'll update maybe once a day or maybe once every other day. Oh, no. I feel like Andy Robinson in the first Dirty Harry movie in 1971. Oh, no, 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 no. No, Jeff updates his blog 3 to 4 to 5 times a day with 3 to 4 to 5 separate and unique stories and articles per day. That's why I say it's an extremely active site. And that's predominantly what we're going to be talking tonight about in the first hour, although I have a couple of articles that I want to cover with you. And then Jeff's going to be here in the first hour because, honest to God, he is going to have to go to sleep sometime at midnight.
Yeah, and then I have to wake up early to be able to write 3 to 4 more articles tomorrow.
That's right. Well, I'll reveal this. Jeff also, he works for a waste disposal company in New York, and he has to get back up at 3 a.m. to make sure that he completes his route. And so he'll drive. Listen, folks, Jeff goes to bed tonight. He'll go to bed and sacrifice numerous hours of sleep. He'll go to bed at midnight. I don't know. It takes him, what does it take you? An hour or so to go to bed after
an hour or so.
Yeah, a whole bunch of shots of wild turkey. So once he himself is sufficiently lubricated, he'll eventually go night-night. But then that terrible alarm goes off on the bed stand next to him, and at 2:30, 3 a.m., he's got to go out, boom, out the door. Takes him about 2 hours to drive his route. And any bodies that happen to be, in a dumpster, he makes sure that dutifully he puts them in a New York landfill like everybody else does and has done because it's a long honored tradition. And then after coming back, taking a shower, his overalls get cleaned and whatnot. And then he starts hammering the keyboard and writing articles for you and for me. Lidblog.com.
The amazing part is that I didn't know about it, so I must be sleeping through it.
Well, people have, how would I say that? Slept worked? Sleep worked? Slept worked.
Something like that.
Sleep worked. Something like that. Traveling Cynic says he has to go. He's got a plane to catch in the morning. Well, thanks for being here in chat. I appreciate the sacrifice. Dave Milner says in terms of watching the debates, he'd rather watch SF movies on TCM.
Okay.
I assume that by that, Dave, you mean science fiction movies on TCM. Because I like old science fiction movies. Do you like science fiction movies, Jeff?
Depends. I mean, I like the Star Wars, the Star Trek. Are they considered science fiction?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, that kind of stuff. But at night, when I'm trying to go to sleep, what I like is either Discovery ID or Forensic Files, because you live that stuff, but, I like to see the bad guy get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is another reason I'm disappointed I didn't watch the debate. But anyway, too many bad guys.
We will get to that. Tonight, one of the biggest things that has consumed this past weekend was the kerfuffle and brouhaha over Donald Trump, the evil, terrible OMB, pointing out the obvious, that the king is naked, the emperor has no clothes, the emperor, of course, being the Democrats and those associated with them, because they're so much better than you or I. Just ask them. When he dared and had the temerity to point out that basically Baltimore is a piece of crap. And that comes as no surprise to people who live in and around the environs of those. I spoke for about 15 to 20 minutes last night to Ken McClinton. He and I had a discussion about various large, what I term urban rat cages, where people are stacked upon themselves. They don't appeal to me. Apparently, they do appeal to a lot of people. But the funny thing is, the cities that tend to fall under the umbrella of areas like Baltimore, they have a common thread. And I'll ask Jeff Dunnitz point blank, what do you think might one of those threads be Sir Jeff Dunitz?
Rats.
Rats!
When I used to commute into Manhattan every day, and then I take the Long Island Railroad, and then I have to get on the subway, and when I'm waiting for the car, I'd always see the rats running around the subway tracks. Yeah, rats. And
wow.
This is New York City. So the ones that aren't running around for the subway tracks, they run for Congress.
I talked, it's funny you should mention that. I talked to Ken last night. There was an article from the
Ken's
Baltimore Sun. Oh, Ken is fabulous. Yep. People. And folks, Ken McClinton, the person to whom I reference, is on at TECN, the Exceptional Conservative Network. He's on Monday through Friday. I think you go to TECN.com to listen to his show on once a night, before I am, as a matter of fact. Because I really am late night stuff. And I described an article to him from the Baltimore Sun, which had in it a pull quote from a resident of Baltimore. Because it's been such a long time that they literally have been trying to solve this terrible rat problem. And this one poor citizen in East Baltimore said, and I thought this was a glorious quote, "Mice on the inside, rats outside." And once I read that, I thought, okay, she's just identified all the politicians and the city employees, essentially, at the very top in management in the city of Baltimore. Good for her. Don't think that's exactly what she meant, but I got it. I understood.
Yep.
There's also...
It's also the city of New York.
Oh, yeah, let me get to that. You would have much more insight on the city of New York than anybody else that I speak to, and I'd like to get that in just a moment. But I want to throw something out there. If you happen to be living on the East Coast, and specifically in Baltimore, there may not be very many of you that are listening from Baltimore, but if you happen to be, or you know people who are in the city of Baltimore and will be voting for mayor, I think, next year in 2020, there's a show on SHR with Mike and Shannon Wright. And I should point out to you that Shannon Wright, W-R-I-G-H-T, is running for mayor of Baltimore.
Oh, really?
She is a conservative. She has a darker paint job than I do. She's still a conservative, receives a ton of garbage because of it. However, we spoke about a month and a half or 2 months ago about her vision for Baltimore. And if she wins, I think she can pull it off. It's time to do something different, because what the Demorats are doing in major urban rat cages these days, Chicago, had 49 shootings this past weekend, 8 deaths. That's essentially a typical weekend in Chicago anymore. Despite the application of 1,200 to 1,400 additional officers, there are many departments across the nation that would love to have a full complement of 1,200 officers on their departments, much less the ability to apply an additional 1,000 to 1,400 officers in overtime to, air quotes, combat crime. So, Jeff Dunitz, you're familiar with New York City. New York City had a great mayor, I believe, under Giuliani, the broken windows rule, stop and frisk, and crime went plummeting in the Big Apple, New York City. Since then, Jeff Dunitz, can you give us an overall summary, if you will, of what has happened since then to New York City?
It went downhill fast. I mean, Bloomberg was not as good as Giuliani. Plus, Bloomberg would tell you when you went into the bathroom whether you could do it number 1 or number 2.
Okay.
And how many times you should flush. I mean, he was in. And then, since this communist took over, de Blasio, it's, open season. And let me tell you something. Even the fact that he's lousy on crime and things like that, the fact that he's made the police feel so miserable that when he speaks at, God forbid, a cop's funeral, they turn their back on him.
I have witnessed videos like that. Yes, I indeed have. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And the fact that he doesn't respect the police, let me tell you something. Not because he's mayor, but because he's a resident and the police spend their lives saving his ugly ass. Excuse my Polish. That's why he should respect the police. But he said that he's warned his children, because, his wife is black, so
yes.
His children are, and he's warned his children that, you know what, you be careful with the police because they might kill you because they feel like it. Basically.
Right, because that's a sensible thing to do to your child. I think it was his son to whom he told that.
Yes, to his son.
To attempt to put the fear of God, of police in your son. New York City is also the most recent location where NYPD officers have been doused with fluids.
Yes.
And they have
Thank God it's only been water, but it's still disgusting.
Well, yes. That's an interesting point because, as I suspected, and I'm sure you knew, that was the beginning of a trend, and it was. It has continued over to other cities, not to exclude, I think, Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken, and it occurred a number of times in New York City, and you make up an excellent point. Many people were saying, it's just young kids having fun.
You know something?
It's
if
hot.
I did
it's
that
hot,
to a cop,
Jeff, it's hot. They're just.
You know something? If
This
I
is
did
respect.
To a cop, if I did that to a cop, my mother would bring out the belt. You know the belt, 9 feet long, 3 feet wide, made of leather,
Right.
and she'd always get you with the belt,
Right.
with the buckle.
Yes.
How dare my parents would kill me. I was taught better than that. You have to have respect for policemen. And certainly, you don't attack them with water. I don't care that it's just water. It's, thank God it's water. But the next one might be acid.
That's the other point, is that we know that cops' food these days has been tainted with all sorts of things, to include various bodily fluids from human beings. And
Really?
so oh God, that's occurred for years. And we, let's see, I'm not going to get super specific, but what's another clear liquid that you could fill one of these little shooting things with? Oh, that's right. Acetone or acid or other caustic chemicals. And you would never know because it's generally a massive crowd that throngs around the police and douses them with liquid. I'll just say liquid. Not a good point to make when you walk away from something like that, because all you're doing is instilling strength in the people that want to go ahead and do that.
Except in New York, the cops know they will not be backed up by the mayor.
That's get out of my head. There's only room enough in here for me these days. That's an excellent point. One of the major reasons that things like this occur is because officers, sheriffs, deputies, etc., are cognizant of the fact that their various administrations, mostly in city police departments, because the chiefs are appointed and not elected like sheriffs, they know generally that the chiefs of police, hence the mayor, because the chief of police dances to the mayor's whim, or the city manager, whoever happens to have the real power in whatever city is involved, they know that the administrator, the chief, generally, won't have their back. So they have to begin to weigh, like a scales, how much do I like my job? Am I going to do my job? Am I going to react to this? Well, here's an excellent case in point. NYPD began to make arrests of the people that were doing this because they put it out all over Twitter and various social media, so there were faces to be seen. And I suspected this was going to occur, and leftists, thank you, you didn't disappoint. Because the ACLU came out and said that it was This is their word, literally. It was disproportionate to make arrests for having done this to NYPD officers. Making an arrest now, folks, according to leftists, is disproportionate in situations like this. Just thought I'd tell you.
Right. Can I ask you a question about the whole Baltimore thing?
Sure, please. Because I have a Donald Trump quote or audio cut that I'm going to be playing in a moment.
Well, I wrote something this afternoon that you probably haven't seen yet.
Okay.
But my question is the whole Trump is a racist thing really a replacement for impeach Trump? Since Mueller killed the impeach Trump thing last week. I don't know, but it's a question to think about.
It's a great point. Okay, we got about 4 more minutes before the bottom of the hour break, so I think this is an excellent time to discuss this. Jeff, I'd like your comment on this. In my opinion, this all stems back from November 9th when the leftists and Democrats didn't win the presidential election in 2016. So everything
Hillary
that's...
didn't win? Oh, God.
I know. Are you sitting down? I hope you're sitting down when you finally realize that. Are you? Okay. And this is nothing more than that. Well, everything, for whatever reason, it would appear that very little sticks to Donald John Trump, OMB, Orange Man Bad, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head. And it's gone through a progression of a number of stages where the savior throughout all of this, the Kavanaugh hearings, for example, were going to sink Trump. They were going to sink Kavanaugh, and then by extension, they were going to sink Trump. That didn't happen. Then Mueller issued his report. That wasn't what they were looking for. Then Mueller sat down last week and looked like the buffoon, the stumbling buffoon that he really is, because I don't believe he wrote that report.
No, he didn't.
Because he wasn't familiar. If he did, then he's a bigger buffoon than I could even imagine that he portrayed himself to be in front of numerous millions of people on TV last week.
Here's something I think. I don't think he's a buffoon. I think he's actually started to lose it. He had to look. I had a father who had dementia just before he died.
Okay.
My mother-in-law died of Alzheimer's. He had that look in his eyes. You know, I'm not saying he had it because I'm not a doctor. But boy, he looked like really out of it. You know, go into YouTube and take a look at the hearings, the congressional hearings he did when he was FBI director.
Uh-huh.
He was snappy. He didn't take any shit. But not this time. And he wasn't familiar with the material. Which made it even... It was scarier because of my concern for him, but it was also scarier because the Democrats had to know before they made him testify.
That's an interesting point. That's a very interesting point. We got 1 more minute before the bottom of the hour break.
And that the leftist staff he had, he might be fair, but the leftist staff wrote the report, and they weren't fair.
No, not in the slightest. That's a very interesting point. Could that be the final question for the first half hour? And I'll ask Jeff for his answer when he comes back after the break. Could that be Jeff Dunitz of lidblog.com? Could that be responsible for the reason that Mueller was fairly adamant that he had everything to say in his report and he was absolutely uninterested in appearing in any fashion before Congress? Anyway, just a question, throwing it out there, and with luck, Jeff Dunitz will have an answer when we come back. You're listening to BZIM, the Bloviating Zeppelin, right here, live and direct in the SHR Media Studios, and this is the Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. Don't go anywhere, please.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded. by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
Hey girls, Carry Girl Gear is here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in competitive shooting, and getting firearms training. It's not a boys club anymore, and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool and unique clothing line just for women. Dope tees and hats for the patriotic concealed carry and 2A girl. So what are you waiting for? Go check out carrygirlgear.com today.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capital, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
Show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny. On shrmedia.com, go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Wednesday, live and direct on the SHR Media Network, shrmedia.com. Be there.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here on the SHR Media Network studios. Go to shrmedia.com. Tons of people in the chat room right now. Again, thanks to Dave, Mary Simone, the Alaskan, Jeff Dunitz, Traveling Cynic, and one viewer who will not be unmasked, because that's not what we do here. in the Saloon. Thanks to everybody for being in chat. You want to call, chat with Jeff himself? We invite you into the chat room at shrmedia.com. I'm on also broadcasting live right now on video at the SHR Media YouTube channel and also the SHR Media Facebook page. Yes, they individually have chat rooms there, but I'm only smart enough to monitor one chat room. So if you want to be in the chat room, and I completely invite you, go to shrmedia.com. That's where all these wonderful people are right now, and you can be part of it yourself, and they always welcome you with open arms, open hands. I should also tell everybody that I have had the couches updated with fine Corinthian leather, and the aquarium that's in there is a saltwater aquarium with beautiful new fish. So if you want to go to the chat room, just relax, throw back a couple of beers in the saloon, we invite you to be in the chat room at shrmedia.com. Before we left, I said, Jeff Dunitz, what do you think of all the stuff that's occurred recently?
Well, I do think the reason why Mueller said I don't want to testify is because he knew too that he was being set up to fail. But the other things that I observed, because I've been seeing so much of them the last couple of weeks. As far as Nadler goes,
yes,
I think when they stapled his stomach, they put a couple of extras in his brain.
Wow. So somehow, somewhere, the surgeon missed, is what you're saying.
Well, because he still believes that that Trump did something. Yeah, he did something. He put in a lot of great policies that are making this country better. And do you know something? As far as Adam Schiff goes, I mean, I call him the bug-eyed barrister of Burbank. Okay, when you look at those eyes, you know that there's some circuit not working well upstairs.
Okay.
Am I wrong?
No, that deserves clearly a most deaf Jeff Dunitz of lidblog.com. Wow, very insightful. The OMB also spoke today. He was out in the garden, I believe. I think he was about to go to his helicopter, so there's some noise in the background of this. But he'll make reference to Baltimore, but he also makes reference to something else that I'd like to discuss with Jeff here in just a moment.
Just a few minutes ago, let's listen.
Obviously thank the Republicans, but I also thank the Democrats. We had one person, and other than that, it was really fantastic. So,
What do you think about the Brazilian president appointing his son to be the ambassador to the UN?
well, I know his son. I find his son to be outstanding. He's a brilliant.
She was asking about somebody being appointed as ambassador. You'll get to another topic in just a moment.
That's probably why they did it. He's outstanding. I'm very happy with that appointment. No, I don't think it's nepotism because his son helped him very much in the campaign. His son is outstanding. He really is. So I think it's a great appointment. I didn't know that.
Here we go.
What?
To the White House and say they're doing great.
A lot of people, many people. And you see it also in the press, and you see it on watching television just coming back. People living in Baltimore are very happy that I'm bringing out the fact that it's like living in hell.
Jeff, do you think that's true? Do you think there are some people in Baltimore that are happy with that?
With what he said?
Yes. That he's pointing out, I guess you could say, the obvious.
Look, I am a reporter. Until I see proof, I don't believe anything. I don't know. I have to be honest. He's gotten phone calls. I don't know.
Okay, let's go to, just for a moment though, let's go to, because I'm lining up an audio cut since it just reminded me, and I'm looking for it as I talk here. Do you think that President Trump is a racist?
No.
Because that's what he's been accused. It's like a serial accuser. He's been accused of racism serially. I can think of no other word to describe it.
Wait a second. He doesn't like cereal?
Well, I don't know if he's a serial killer, though.
He's also been accused of being an anti-Semite, okay? And, you know, I'm the first one to start screaming when someone is an anti-Semite.
Yes.
Okay? The guy, okay, first of all of his grandchildren are Jewish.
Yeah. Wow,
Okay?
there's a shocker.
Even I don't know Donald Jr.'s kids, but Eric's new kid, Eric's wife is Jewish on her mother's side.
Right.
So technically, by Jewish law, she's Jewish and their kids are Jewish. Okay? So most of his grandchildren are Jewish. And he loves his grandchildren, okay? But the other thing is, he was once the guy who led the Israel Day parade. Do you know how you get to be the guy who leads the parade?
You have to, I think, be voted, appointed in some fashion.
You have to give the most money.
Okay.
In any Jewish organization, the way you get to the top is you give a lot of money.
Okay.
This was before his president. He was supporting Jewish causes. This was long before he was president. So I'm going to tell me the guy was an anti-Semite when he didn't have to be, and he was supporting Jewish causes. And especially when we went through 8 years of the biggest anti-Semite since FDR.
I think
that would
those...
be Barack Obama.
Yeah, I would say those are facts and evidence. We'll point this out in passing, but Trump was tried and convicted in the press and in the eyes of the leftists and Democrats of rigging the election. In terms of rigging an election, the person who actually rigged an election in Israel was Barack Hussein Obama, who sent American cash through the U.S. government at the time towards Benjamin Netanyahu's opponent in Israel. Right. That's not influencing an election.
Advisors. Yeah.
That's not influencing anything, is it, Jeff?
No. Well, the other thing is that the craziest, most biggest fight in American politics is a calm day in Israel politics. I know. I got to tell you. Okay.
It can kind of be tumultuous, yes.
Because it's not two parties, and everyone's fighting not to win, but to get at least 5% of the vote so they get a seat in the parliament. It's crazy.
Okay.
And people call each other names and things like that. It's amazing.
It kind of reminds me of the British Parliament a little bit. That gets heated too.
Yeah, except the British Parliament, you're fighting for districts, right? Like we have CDs, they have their districts. Israel politics, you're part of a list, okay? And depending on how many parliament seats, how many votes you get X number of parliament seats, and it's for the whole country.
Ah, okay.
Okay, so you vote. You're not voting for a candidate at all. You're voting for a list. And no political party has ever gotten a majority. It's always been coalition governments.
Okay, so it's how well you can assemble that coalition.
Right, which is why there's another election in September, because Netanyahu couldn't get 61 votes in the parliament. And the other problem is one of the stereotypes that Jews tell about ourselves is that you put two Jews in a room, you get 10 opinions. Think about it when 80% of your government is Jews. Whoa!
Wow, that's a nation of Sibyls. And boy,
Right.
that reference dates, and very few of you people are going to get that. Here's some people I found who are not quite happy with Baltimore, nor with Elijah Cummings, and they tend to agree with OMB.
Hello, it's me again, world. I was so excited when Miss Kim told me how many hits that we got and that the president actually responded to Elijah Cummings. And what he said was definitely true. He hasn't done anything for us. For the last, I think he's been in office over 20 years?
30.
30? Okay, so I was like 18 back then, and he hasn't done anything for us. No cookouts, no shoe giveaway, no clothes giveaway, nothing for the... And then y'all just want to know about the houses. He hasn't done anything. Today is Saturday, July the 27th, 2019, not 1819. It's today. It's a little bit after 6 p.m. And like I said, I'm so excited. I'm so impressed with Miss Kim because she's helping us. And she's the only one. Y'all need to put her in office. Y'all need to give her his job. For real. And I'm just not saying that. It's true. Okay. The house, as far as the house and everything, like I said, he has never done anything for not even one person that I know of. I never heard anybody say anything about him.
She's talking about Elijah Cummings. And so that indicates to me that she's not really happy that much with Elijah Cummings. So that did. And I found some other audio cuts.
Well,
They're
at least
not.
Obama gave free phones.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And I think there were people early on in Obama's tenure saying that I believe he was going to pay their mortgage, if I'm not mistaken. I think there were people there that were swearing that he was going to pay their mortgage. One other thing occurred, and I don't know how familiar you are. I know you're very familiar with New York. I don't know how familiar you are with Baltimore. That's not exactly in your bailiwick, but...
My brother lives in the suburbs of Baltimore, so
Okay.
I've been there a few times.
Alrighty. Folks, if you've ever seen The Wire or Homicide or any of those other two shows, what you're seeing is actually Baltimore. And what would appear to be the bombed-out remnants of Dresden, Germany, following the firebombing, is essentially row homes that have never been rebuilt since the riots in 1968, and further were torched again in the riot in 2015. This is very interesting. Baltimore since has had a $1.8 billion, with a B, dollar stimulus plan, which essentially proved Donald Trump correct. Where did the biggest question, and Elijah Cummings is responsible for this, the biggest question would be, where and to whom did this $1.8 billion go? You could just as easily have taken, I don't know, found out the true number of persons in Baltimore and paid them all at least $100,000, and you would have either had the biggest drug gallery in the world, or you would have actually had people pull themselves up from their bootstraps and release themselves from poverty. Where did $1.8 billion go? Jeff Dunitz.
Didn't go into my pocket. Let me tell you something. And I have to do, yes, Baltimore has some real problems, but they have a beautiful ballpark. I have to tell you. The Orioles ballpark?
Yes.
Beautiful. It's the way baseball was meant to be watched. But besides that, it's a hole. I got to be honest.
Well, East Baltimore never came back. Now, Baltimore has a fraction of the population of New York City. Why is it that, you could have John Lindsay tear New York apart, you could have Dinkins tear New York apart, and somehow New York manages to recover? Why doesn't Baltimore recover? It's a fraction of the
Because
population.
New York had 12 years of a Republican mayor.
Thank you, Jeff Dunitz.
And Lindsay, I think, was a Republican, but what Bob Grant used to call him is the Leaning Tower of Jello. He had no guts.
No, you're right. I do want to talk about this article that you wrote. And I believe it's the newest one that you just penned and released is Trump is Racist, the new Impeach Trump. We discussed it kind of glossingly, but what is your opinion? Mueller failed. I'm not sure. Jeff Dunitz, do you think there's always going to be a push, but do you think that it will be outright and that it will succeed in any fashion, even in the House?
No, not at all. I don't think any of it. As long as we don't have a recession in the next 15, 16 months, we're cool. But, sadly, we're due for one.
Yeah, because they are cyclical. They always are cyclical. They always have been, and they always will be cyclical.
But the interesting thing is that the reason why I think we're cool, at least for a while, is that we never had a real recovery after the last one, because we were stuck with Obama, who put extra regulations, and he did everything to, screw business. And, more taxes, etc. And really, we didn't start to have a real recovery until Trump took over.
So from your article, Jeff Dunitz, is Trump is racist? Is that the new impeach Trump? If you believe that impeachment is not going anywhere.
Oh, I don't think impeachment's going anywhere.
Okay, so is that the new rallying cry from now until November of next year?
I believe so. Like I said, I didn't see the debate, but I heard comments that, they brought up that Trump was a racist a lot during the debate. The guy's not a racist. If you look at what's happened to African American income during the 2 years he was president, it's been better than the 8 years Obama was president.
Oh,
so
heck yeah!
He'd speak before a black audience when he was running for president. He would say, "Hey, how bad can it be?" Well, guess what? It was good.
You mentioned in this. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
You write specifically in this article, though nothing he tweeted, meaning President Trump, had anything to do with race, the media is describing the president's tweets as racist. Making those comments even more hypocritical is that they still describe Representative Omar's use of classic anti-Semitic canards as what some people say is anti-Semitic. You nail it in that one. You absolutely nailed it in that one.
But Trump is a racist. Exactly.
But Trump is a racist.
And it really bothers me, to be honest, because she said some stuff that's been, for not years, but for centuries. The Jews are all wealthy. It's all about the Benjamins. The Jews have dual loyalty between Israel or the Jewish people. And even when there was no Israel, they would say they do loyalty in their country. I got to tell you something. When parents and grandparents ran across roofs in Odessa to escape the Cossacks, this country took them in, let them practice their faith, and let them, get a career, make money, and treated and welcomed them, okay? And that was all the way from the 1800s till the Democrats took over a couple of years ago. And I love this place because this place has been so good to my family. I don't have dual loyalty. I have loyalty to one country. But if you ask Omar, I mean, that's, when the people left for the Crusades, a lot of them would kill all the Jews in the town, especially in France, because they said that Jews have dual loyalty. And she said it. But they say what some people think as. Well, guess what? That's anti-Semitic. And he said that, Baltimore is a rat hole. Well, guess what? It is. He didn't say anything about, it's a rat hole because it's got a lot of African Americans living there.
Correct.
Even that other one, go back to where you came from. That's not what he said.
That's exactly not what he said. And I read your article on the air here that specifically delineated what he said is go back to your own country and help your own country.
Well, no, what he said was, you think you can do it? Go back to where you came from, fix that country, then come back here and tell me how you did it if you know how to do it. Okay, it was nothing like, you're not an American.
No.
It was nothing like, get the hell out. It was, okay, you think you could do it better? Try it, and then come back to me if you could do it.
Jeff, we got 3 more minutes before the top of the hour, and I know you got to go. You just now came out with an article. The headline says, and I find this very interesting, Antifa terrorists, listen to this, folks. Antifa terrorists plan a 10-day September border siege in El Paso. Now, my first thought when I read that is, Antifa, Texas. Antifa, Texas. Anybody besides me see an issue with that, Jeff?
I have a problem with everything that Antifa does. I don't know why I should care about Texas more than probably going over my head.
What I mean is a lot of Texans are not leftist friendly once you get out of the leftist enclaves like Houston or Austin or Dallas. Texans are not big fans of Antifa, and a bunch of them are armed. Some open carry. Most conceal carry. If Antifa has something bad with arms in mind in Texas, like that 69-year-old blockhead who was shot and killed by the cops, an Antifa member, thank God, Antifa might be making a mistake pulling something like this in Texas. That was my first thought.
My thought is that there is no way that Trump's going to not. I mean, he's going to take care and back up the ICE people that are on. The Border Patrol. He's not going to leave them hanging. He's going to send some of those National Guard or Army troops to help them. They're screwed, I hope.
I find it interesting that let's see, I believe he's Vietnamese, a gay Vietnamese guy that Antifa thumped on in Seattle by the name of Andy Go, wrote, Antifa is leading a border resistance, this is directly from your article, Antifa is leading a border resistance militancy training tour that will converge on a 10-day siege in El Paso, Texas. The promotional image shows border enforcement officers being killed and government property firebombed. Organizers asking for white comrades to pay for others.
Yeah, that won't happen.
Isn't
because liberals make conservatives pay.
Interesting.
You know what I think is the most interesting? Remember 2 weeks ago that the liberals were about to go to Area 51?
Well, yeah.
But you know who was leading that?
No, I do not know. Some guy on Facebook is all I know.
Mark Zuckerberg. Do you know why? He thinks Area 51, they're holding his father.
Really?
Data. Do you remember Data from The Next Generation?
Sure, and he wants him back then?
Well, take a look at Data and take a look at Mark Zuckerberg. They're twins.
Twin sons from different mothers. Excellent. An excellent point.
Well, at least when you make it up like I did.
But I find this interesting. Antifa, who should be declared a domestic terrorist group, I'm just waiting for that to occur. I'm not holding my breath. The promotional image on Antifa shows border enforcement officers being killed. To me, that's an advocacy of law enforcement officers being killed and government property being firebombed. I don't know.
You know who protested when Trump said, I'm thinking about making them a terrorist group? The Germans. The home of fascism.
Oh. Gosh, the home of Angela Merkel as well.
Well, that too. There's something wrong with that woman.
There is.
And I'm not being funny.
No, you're right. There is, I think, something physically going on with her right now.
Right. You know, or maybe she was just around Adam Schiff too long.
That could be too. Jeff Dunitz?
But they're the anti-fascists, supposedly, and they're being backed up by the birthplace of fascism. It's just crazy.
Yeah. I'm kind of disappointed they chose black. I wish they had chosen originally the brown shirts, which is what they truly are.
Sort of. You know what? The Hitler people didn't wear masks. They weren't cowards.
No, that's true. These people are, in fact, cowards. Okay. It's the top of the hour. Mr. Jeff Dunitz, where can people find you and read you?
Lidblog.com. And please, because Facebook's been screwing me lately. So please come and visit and share what you like with your friends.
There you go. You're on Twitter, if I'm not mistaken.
Zid with Lid.
And you have at least one presence on Facebook.
Right.
So, social media.
But really, I don't really talk to a lot of people on the social media. It's just for my friends and to promote my stuff.
Okay. So mostly, folks, lidblog.com.
BZ, I really appreciate you having me on. This is always fun.
Thank you very much, sir. And I definitely will have you back. Folks, Jeff Dunitz, we're going to take a break. Come right back. And folks, do I have some interesting audio cuts for you? Really interesting. Don't go anywhere.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
Hey girls, Carry Girl Gear is here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in competitive shooting, and getting firearms training. It's not a boys' club anymore, and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool and unique clothing line just for women. Dope tees and hats for the patriotic, concealed carry, and 2A girl. So what are you waiting for? Go check out carrygirlgear.com today.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
The new show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny. On shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, every Wednesday. Live and direct on the SHR Media Network. shrmedia.com. Be there.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capitol, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern. Only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad. Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is now the it is officially the second hour of the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. I should care to point out a couple of things, if I might. And I have been neglectful in this, and I'm trying to ameliorate that this Thursday night. Now, you may or may not know that Ann Ubellis from Southern Sense has been on SHR for quite some time. And, David Harris, okay. Yeah, I would love to have him on the show. I think he's sufficiently big that he probably wouldn't be interested, although I've gotten some other people on the show that I didn't think that I would get. In any event, Ann from Southern Sense is going to be on here Thursday night. We're still under negotiations. It's not about M&Ms in the punch bowl. It's not about the color of the green room, which is still green. And it's not about the fine Corinthian leather couches in the chat room. So we're going through some final hammering out of the contract, because it won't be cheap, folks. I'm just letting you know that I will do whatever I can to bring good quality programming and guests to you. So this Thursday night, for the first hour, my bad for not having her on earlier, like a year ago, since we carry her. Ann Ubellis from Southern Sense. Excuse me. Great show. Fabulous show. Gets excellent ratings, and you should all zip out quick like a bunny. Go to Southern Sense on Facebook, for example. She's there. And I think she's also on, you can find her on Spreaker, if I'm not mistaken, or Blog Talk, one of the two. I wish I could remember, but I cannot. Anyway, if you just go Ann Ubelis, A-N-N, Ubelis, U-B-E-L-I-S, and then Southern Sense, you'll be able to find out where she is, where she broadcasts, and you can listen to her show. So that's coming up for next Thursday. Tomorrow. Day after tomorrow, I should say. Tomorrow night, I have rumors and threats of a chat show from Sackheads Clint. Theoretically, there should be, air quotes, a chat show tomorrow night. I believe there will be. I really do. Next Thursday night, I'm trying to get someone from the Libertarian Party on to discuss libertarianism. I call myself a little L libertarian, and then I'm trying to negotiate for somebody that I can't tell you about right now, but I hope to have them available for next Tuesday, and if I can pull it off, then it'll be a coup. If I can't, then I'm a duck. And yes, the phone line is open, so anybody that happens to be listening, I put a ton of stuff out in social media today. And something happened in the interim between myself and the other network that used to carry me. Anyway, that has moved along. We've all decided to play nicely in the sandbox, and we have moved along. And so if you want to call 209-284-3210, but in the interim, I put out tons of extensions and whatnot to various social media groups, etc. So for the folks who have never listened to me here before, and I suspect there may be a few, and Jeff Dunitz, by the way, if you have never heard of Jeff, I hope that you guys who are new to the show decide that you're going to listen to Jeff, his show, and basically, if you don't know who I am, I'm just basically an ancient, nattering, obese, pulchritudinous jejune jackanape who features ubiquitous, sagacious perspicacity right here on my live wireless broadcast. I'm on twice weekly, Tuesday and Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific. That's 10 p.m. Central. And it's also, I think it's, last I checked, it's 1796.723 hours, subcluster 4, paragraph 9, page 60 in Bolivian time. I'm a 41-year veteran of law enforcement. I worked for a couple of California, spelled with a K, please, sheriff's departments. I worked for the FBI, the U.S. Marshal. I guarded a nuclear reactor at one time. I was an EVOC sergeant. I was a range master, a homicide detective. I drove a taxi, a tow truck. I caught murderers. I combed hair. I caddied fat cats. I pulled weeds. And I worked for over 10 terrestrial radio stations in the 1970s, also to include KFBK in Sacramento, right here in Sacramento, California. The 50,000-watt AM flamethrower where Rush Limbaugh got his first syndicated opportunity right here. So that's a little bit about me. What about you? For those who are new and just tuning into the show, thank you very much for being here. I grandly appreciate it. And again, thanks to Jeff for being here in the first hour, lidblog.com, lidblog.com. That is a great place that you need to go. Now, because we have an agreement, and because he's a great, cool cat, and because I'm going to have him back on the show in the not too terribly distant future, and because you would expect no less, I think perhaps it's time to listen to this cool cat.
Did Mayor de Blasio sell out the citizens of New York City and that city's police force? Hello, I'm Ron Edwards on today's page from the Edwards Notebook. New York Mayor de Blasio is on a mad mission to destroy the greatest city in the world, New York City. It's bad enough that homies from Harlem and some brainless Brooklynites were allowed to assault police officers who don't have permission to go hard after physical offenders. And to add insult to injury, New York City residents are under assault by criminals emboldened by Mayor de Blasio preventing police officers from doing their jobs in order to appease certain people who prefer law-abiding citizens to be threatened instead of thugs who should be thwarted. Even more insulting are Muslims patrolling streets in cars that look exactly like NYPD patrol cars.
Stop right there. Were you aware of that? Get on your favorite search engine if you think that Ron Edwards is kidding. 'Cause he's not.
Muslim community patrols have raised concerns among many New Yorkers who have decried the Muslim patrol as similar to Sharia police. Why so-called community Muslim patrols are even allowed in the greatest city in the world is beyond me. Wake up, America, and join me Fridays at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific on AmericaMatters.us. I'm Ron Edwards.
Ron Edwards, the new voice of America.
Sponsored by the Tri-County Liberty Coalition.
And I think we got somebody on the phone. Who is it on the Teleola phone? Go ahead, unknown caller.
It is me, BZ.
What do you have to say? I happen to know who this person is. It's Mike. What do you happen to say, Sir Mike?
Oh, you know what? I did this morning. I got a chance to catch the show, at least a little piece of the show from our friends down in Baltimore.
Okay.
Mike and
Mike and Shannon Wright from the Right
Mike
Way.
and Shannon Wright. You know, now I didn't catch a lot of it. I catch maybe 10, 15 minutes of it, but whatever. It'd be interesting to hear their comments on this whole flap about what the president said about Baltimore and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That would be interesting to me. Now, we know that Shannon is running for mayor, right?
Yes, I did, and I had her on the show about 2 months ago, where she told me a lot of the things that she wanted to do. She has some great plans, and all the other stuff has not worked. There's no reason to not give a conservative a shot. Baltimore, though, will they? Do you think so, Mike?
It could be. I mean, now that the president has given a big loud megaphone to it, from his tweets and from the presidency, maybe we can see a Republican win in that city.
Wouldn't it be great, Mike?
Oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me.
What day is it?
Mike. What?
Mike. What day is it? It's time for the Saloon.
It's time for the Saloon, yes.
It's Saloon Day.
Now, one thing I want to say about tomorrow's possible show, theory is good, but in the case of Clint, theory does not work.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
You only believe it when you see it, right? Or hear it.
Really.
In this occasion, you only believe it when you hear it.
Really, yeah. But, and look, in theory, I watched a little bit of that debate tonight, and to tell you the truth, none of those guys are going to beat President Trump. None of them. Not a one of them. They're I won't say they're idiots, but
they're idiots.
They're too far left. They don't have the guy that can. None of those guys. Maybe Joe Biden if he didn't have his problems, but none of those guys are going to be able to tack back to the center. Like Clinton did.
Here's an interesting observation. Well, number one, Mike, did you happen to listen to any portion of the first debate tonight from the Democrats?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I watched maybe a half hour before I really couldn't take it anymore. But I don't know whether it was just a magic half hour or whether it was representative of the rest of the debates. But I found it very interesting that there were people on that stage of 10 who were attempting to portray themselves as relatively moderate. They were trying to moderate some of the wacky far left crap that the rest of the people that were on this stage were advocating. And I'm thinking, okay, this is very interesting. This is something that we did not hear in the first round of debates very much. So either these people somehow magically found their balls they may have dropped only at the last second, or they figure that maybe in some strange fashion, it's okay for them to indicate that they're moderates. But this is the first time I've heard a couple of people on a Democrat podium in the second series of debates indicate anything like circumspection at all. And I almost can't even call it circumspection. I was honestly a little surprised. I don't think it's going to play well in Poughkeepsie, but I was a little surprised.
I don't think it's going to play well with the squad, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, you're right. They appeared there, but again, think about it this way: there were a number of guys that won this past, particularly in the House, that came out of Republican-leaning districts, conservative-leaning, Republican-leaning districts that ran on basically centrist to. They were Democrats, but they let pro-gun, pro-life, different things like that, and they won. Now, when they got in, they didn't vote that way, but they won by lying to the people. Now, is this them being circumspect? These guys on the stage being circumspect? Or is it them trying to lie to the people?
We'll find out, won't we? Thanks for the call, Mike. I greatly appreciate it. Because I've got some great audio coming up right after this. This tweet from Linda Sarsour. Linda Sarsour sent a tweet out which said, "If you're an American, we must own that we live in a cruel nation that oppresses poor black and brown people. If you are an American who truly loves this nation, you must speak up and speak out against injustice and oppression, and vow," these are capital letters, "and vow and commit to do better. I believe in us," she says. This is the lovely Muslim Linda Sarsour who says this. This country is cruel. It's packed with injustice. I have a rebuttal. This happens to be from Bridget Gabrielle, who's another Muslim, and happens to say this in response.
And when I look at the squad running their mouth in Washington, D.C., complaining about America, saying all sorts of things about America, dividing America, I have never in my 30 years when I came to this country, and boy, you talk about how the country has changed in 30 years. Can you imagine if we enforce people right now to learn English, to speak English, to learn our Constitution, to learn our heritage, what a better country we will have because the group of immigrants who would come here.
Oh, you can't say that.
So for the squad of 4 in Washington, D.C. who are complaining and dividing our people and talking about color, in my 30 years in the United States, as a lady of color, and this is the first time I even used that language, as a lady with brown skin, I have never felt in 30 years that my skin color was even an issue. I never even saw color. I was never treated differently. I was never discriminated against. I was never looked down upon. I never even felt that I was any different. As a matter of fact, Because I am a legal immigrant, I worked twice as hard to prove to my
Legal immigrant.
new country that I was worthy of the citizenship. I wanted to make money and pay my taxes to make America great and greater.
Oh, you can't say that. You can't say that.
Thank you. Legal immigrants like me with brown skin are offended, are insulted, are humiliated when we see the garbage language coming out of Washington, D.C., out of our Congress by people who are ungrateful for our nation, that we brought here as refugees or came here because their parents immigrated here, yet they are ungrateful for our country. This is not the type of leaders we need in Washington, D.C. They are an embarrassment and an insult to legal immigrants like me.
Absolutely. And finally, we get someone who talks the talk and walks the walk. Who's another individual that's been weighing in recently? That would be Candace Owens. She makes a very interesting point here. Do you remember when Hillary Clinton said something similar to, "I don't feel no ways tired"? Trying to relate to black Democrats for approval. Black Democrats are walking away from the Democrat Party of hate, of segregation, of condescension, and also of welfare votes. Did someone do that recently in the Democrat side? Candace Owens?
Drop a comment for me and tell me why it is that you still vote Democrat. No argument. I'm not going to judge you. I genuinely want to know what the draw is. This is the most insulting thing that I've ever seen, the most insulting clip I've ever seen. Why do you have to speak like that to black Americans to get their vote or to be relatable? I'm marrying a British man. He had a British accent. He didn't have to put on a hood accent to get me.
By the way, she's referring to who? AOC Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who used a black accent to talk to mostly a black crowd recently.
Why can't black Americans understand English? Why can't she just have said what she wanted to say in perfect English? Is the idea that we're so dumb that we don't know how to communicate effectively and we find it relatable when people break up our language? Does she have to speak Ebonics? Does she have to throw in colloquialisms? Do you have to swear in order to get black Americans to understand? I say this over and over again. The left thinks black people are stupid. Literally stupid, okay? I make the Cardi B joke. They'll probably literally have her performing for whoever their candidate is in 2020. People say, how can you support Trump? Trump speaks the exact same way, whether he's in the room with people that are white, Hispanic, black. I've done all black events with Trump. I've been at events with people in front of the RNC. Trump speaks the exact same way no matter what room you are in because he respects us. He respects us enough to tell us the truth. You're offended when Trump asks us, what do we have to lose? But you're not offended when AOC speaks in a broken Southern accent to relate to us because we're still slaves? I will agree with her on one thing. We are still slaves. We are mental slaves.
Ow.
So it's actually almost appropriate that they speak to us in this way. Because we keep giving them our votes. They keep giving us absolutely nothing. We are getting what we deserve at this moment if we still vote Democrat. If we can't see that they are actually just trying to relate with us through culture, as opposed to having real conversations about why they destroyed our communities, why they removed our fathers from the home. They just call everybody racist and speak in broken black accents. So I'm going to end this video by telling you that I'm still Trump all day.
She just put on a MAGA hat.
This is why I am Trump all day, Trump 2020, Trump 2024, Trump 2028, because he has the audacity to speak to black Americans like we're actually individuals that deserve a real conversation about how we fix our communities. I have to go. I'm going bride dress shopping.
Wow. Okay. Candace Owens.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
Hey girls, Carry Girl Gear is here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in competitive shooting, and getting firearms training. It's not a boys' club anymore, and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool and unique clothing line just for women. Dope tees and hats for the patriotic concealed carry and 2A girl. So what are you waiting for? Go check out carrygirlgear.com today.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capital, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
New show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny. On shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Wednesday. Live and direct on the SHR Media Network. shrmedia.com. Be there.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. It would appear that it's the final 25. That is to say, the final 25 minutes of the radio show. The quickest 2 hours in radio, right here. Thanks for listening. And I also have to say this to everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at BZEP, at BZEP. You can like me and follow me on my Facebook page, Bloviating Zeppelin. Zeppelin, not Zeppelin. No D on the end. Just thought I'd tell you. You can friend, follow, and like the SHR Media Facebook page itself. You can subscribe to the SHR Media YouTube channel. Click notifications. Give our videos a big thumbs up, if you will. Great hosts, great videos, great shows. Just a reminder about that. I found this audio cut. And for me, I have to admit, this was not my number one issue as a conservative. It became a very close top issue to me when I discovered that, and I'm sorry, I can think of, and if you don't like me quantifying the people this way, I couldn't care less. Democrats, hell, anyone who advocates for at birth, up to birth, abortions are evil. They're just evil people. This is an audio cut, and I waited until the last portion of the show in order to play it. An abortion doctor by the name of Levatino, Levatino, if you want to find him on your favorite search engine. Dr. Levatino speaks before Congress. This happens to be about Planned Parenthood medical procedures. This was on C-SPAN. I found it on C-SPAN. This is the House Judiciary Committee in the Rayburn office building. If you don't want to listen to it, I understand. This is a doctor being quite frank. If you have people who are moderates, they're on the fence about abortion, bring them to this portion of the show afterwards when I post the podcast or the video. The last half hour. And have them play this. And listen very carefully to what this doctor is about to say. Because he's very clinical. He's also very descriptive.
Dr. Levatino, we'll begin with you. Welcome. Thank you, Chairman and members of the committee. I only have 5 minutes, so I'm going to get right to it. Second trimester D&E abortions perform between roughly 14 and 24 weeks of gestation. Your patient today is 17 years old. She's 22 weeks pregnant. Her baby is the length of your hand plus a couple of inches. And she's been feeling her baby kick for the last several weeks. But she's asleep on an operating room table. You walk into that operating room scrubbed and gowned, and after removing laminaria, you introduce a suction catheter into the uterus. This is a 14 French suction catheter. If she were 12 weeks pregnant or less, basically the width of your hand or smaller, you could basically do the entire procedure with this. But babies this big don't fit through catheters this size. After suctioning the amniotic fluid out from around the baby, you introduce an instrument called a Sofer clamp. It's about 13 inches long. It's made of stainless steel. The business end of this clamp is about 2.5 inches long and 1/2 inch wide. There are rows of sharp teeth. This is a grasping instrument. When it gets a hold of something, it does not let go. A D&E procedure is a blind abortion, so picture yourself introducing this and grabbing anything you can blindly and pull, and I do mean hard, and out pops a leg about that big, which you put down on the table next to you. Reach in again, pull out an arm about the same length, which you put down on the table next to you. And use this instrument again and again to tear out the spine, the intestines, the heart and lungs. Head on the baby that size is about the size of a large plum. Can't see it, but you pretty good idea you've got it if you've got your instrument around something and your fingers are spread about as far as they go. You know you did it right if you crush down on the instrument and white material runs out of the cervix. That was the baby's brains. Then you could pull out skull pieces. And you have a day like I had a lot of times. Sometimes a little face comes back and stares back at you. Congratulations, you just successfully performed a second trimester D&E abortion. You just affirmed her right to choose.
Think about that. If that wasn't happy enough, if that wasn't graphic enough for you, Why did I play that? Well, for the obvious reason. And then to lead you into this, and to lead you into, well, what I term Schadenfreude.
It's time for happy stories and good times.
What could possibly be happy after that? This is, but for completely opposite reasons that fall squarely into the Schadenfreude aspect. Headline: Planned Parenthood president ousted after just 8 months on the job. Now, when I tell you this, after having consistently listened to the show, I'm hoping that you're picking up some things along the way. And I'm hoping that there's a certain phrase that you're thinking right now, which I'll talk to you about in just a moment. But I want to go over the article first. The president of Planned Parenthood, the largest abortion provider in the U.S., was removed from her position last Tuesday after just 8 months. Dr. Lena Wen tweeted that Planned Parenthood's board had, quote, ended my employment at a secret meeting. We were engaged in good faith negotiations about my departure based on philosophical differences over the direction and future of Planned Parenthood. End of quote. She later posted a copy of a letter to Planned Parenthood officials in which she said she was, quote, leaving the organization sooner than I hoped. I hope that phrase is kind of rummaging around in your brain right now. I'll tell you what it is in a moment. She wrote, I came to Planned Parenthood to run a national health care organization and to advocate for a broad range of public health policies that affect our patients' health, she said. The new board leadership has determined that the priority of Planned Parenthood moving forward is to double down on abortion rights advocacy. With the landscape changing dramatically in the last several months, and the right to safe, legal abortions care under attack like never before, I wonder how that occurred. I understand the shift in the board's prioritization. The Washington Post, citing a person aware of the board's perspective, reported that Planned Parenthood had attempted to correct issues with Wen's management style that had caused, quote, serious conflicts and difficulty working with staff for the past 6 months. The source also denied that the move to remove Wen was the result of any disagreement over the organization's direction. Her departure came as the Trump administration announced it would start enforcing new rules that ban taxpayer-funded family planning clinics referring women for abortions. Planned Parenthood, the largest recipient of those funds, says it will not abide by those rules. Now I can tell you the thought, the phrase that should have been coursing through your brain at that time. And that's this. She was discovered to be insufficiently left for the left. And that's what so many people are discovering these days. And certain leftists are being kicked to the curb because now, altogether, way too many Democrats are insufficiently left for the left. Without any elaboration, Planned Parenthood announced Wen's departure via a Twitter post, thanking her for her service and wishing her good luck going forward. But did you understand the disagreement? The disagreement is she wasn't just for abortion. She wasn't just an abortion administrator. Her concern was women's health. To Planned Parenthood, her focus was not sufficient to abortions by themselves. Hence, she is insufficiently left for the left. That is the future of the Democrats these days. I have another story that falls under happy stories. And it also involves abortion. How do I find this stuff? Abortion isn't a happy story. Well, maybe this one is. This is the headline. Alaska governor to state Supreme Court. The state Supreme Court of Alaska. The abortion funding you mandated is coming from your budget. Alaska Governor Mike Dunleavy has a message for the state's Supreme Court. If you're going to force taxpayers to fund abortions, that money is coming out of your budget. The Alaska Supreme Court has continuously ruled that the state must fund abortions, so Dunleavy slashed the amount it has been spending on the deadly practice from the state judiciary's budget. Via a line-item veto, Dunleavy reduced the budget of the state's courts by $334,700. The amount of public money spent on elective abortions annually. Quote, the legislative and executive branch are opposed to state-funded elective abortions. The only branch of government that insists on state-funded elective abortions is the Supreme Court, the governor's office explained in its fiscal year 2020 budget. The annual cost of elective abortions is reflected by this reduction. The federal government also prohibits any federal funds paying for elective abortions. The document notes, I submit to you, that's a happy story. Let's actually get into some truly happier
It's time for happy stories and good times.
This is from KTLA 5. Mitsubishi Motors to relocate North America headquarters from Cyprus to Tennessee. Mitsubishi, listen to this. Mitsubishi Motors announced on Tuesday it's relocating its North America headquarters to Tennessee, becoming the latest Japanese automaker to leave California and head to a southern state looking for lower operating costs. Mitsubishi, which employs 200 people in Cypress, California, told the Orange County Register in a statement the Nashville area offers strong technology skills and, quote, cost savings through the business-friendly work environment. The move will also bring the Japanese automaker closer to its sister company Nissan and strengthen Tennessee's growing reputation as the epicenter of the automotive sector. I wonder how that happens. Here's another happy story, since I happen to be on the roll. Ocasio-Cortez, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is going to get a new 2020 challenger. She's a Republican immigrant from Jamaica. Sherry Murray, a New York businesswoman who immigrated from Jamaica as a child, and she's active in state Republican politics, is launching a campaign for the congressional seat held by Democrat Socialist Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. In a phone interview, Murray, 38, confirmed her intention to run for the New York congressional seat as a Republican. There is a crisis in Queens, and it's called AOC, Murray told Fox News. And instead of focusing on us, she's focusing on being famous, mainly rolling back progress and authoring the job-killing Green New Deal and killing the Amazon New York deal. Facts in evidence. Facts in evidence. This is a happy story, but it's a weird story. It's one of the weirdest ass stories that I've been trying to get to you for at least the past 3 weeks. And it's been sitting in my slush pile, waiting to be told, because it comes with a weird-ass story and one of the strangest, most disturbing audio cuts that I've found in a while. And probably you're thinking to yourself, oh, this is kind of weird. It's late at night. BZ's going to tell me a weird story. And I'm going to ask you this. After I tell you the story and I play the audio cut for you, and the other thing that's kind of interesting is this audio cut that I have. It occurs between an individual and our favorite CNN guy, Anderson Cooper. He of great wealth because his family comes from great, great Northeast wealth, if you didn't already know. This is the headline, then I'll get to the audio cut. And it's about as bizarre as bizarre can get. Now, do you remember, because essentially in many instances, he is Teflon. OMB is Teflon. But do you remember about a month, maybe a month and a half, because things fly so quickly. Do you remember about a month and a half ago, a female came out and accused Donald Trump of rape? And then magically, then it was, OMB, racist, sexist, rapist, sexist, rapist, racist, ist, ob, ist, ob, ist, and more ist. This is so weird. The headline is this. Trump rape accuser story. I guarantee you have not heard this. I guarantee it. Which is why it's weird and it's delicious, both at the same time. Trump rape accuser story was a plot line from Law and Order SVU. Her claims mirror what happened in an episode of a TV show. The chick's name was E. Jean Carroll. She accused Donald John Trump, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head, of rape. Her story mirrors almost precisely a plot line from an episode of Law and Order SVU, Special Victims Unit. She says, sometime in the 1990s, she can't remember the year, E. Jean Carroll claims that Donald Trump sexually assaulted her in the lingerie department of the Bergdorf Goodman department store. Carroll said that Trump lunged at her, pushed her against a wall, pulled down her tights, and thrust his penis halfway inside of her. I finally get a knee up high enough to push him out and off, and I turn, open the door, and run out of the dressing room, said Carroll, adding, the whole episode lasts no more than 3 minutes. I do not believe he ejaculates. I don't remember if any person or attendant is now in the lingerie department. Grok this in a stunning coincidence. Her story is very similar to a plotline from an episode of Law and Order SVU, where a suspect being questioned says it took place in the dressing room of Bergdorf, where she was trying on lingerie, and I would burst in.
In a public place. Yes, there was one, a bit plain, and it was not her fantasy, it was mine. Okay. Yeah.
This is from SVU, by the way.
Role play took place in the dressing room of Bergdorf's. While she was trying on lingerie, I would burst in. Hold on. When did you and she have your date? 6 weeks ago, maybe. She wrote back.
Yeah, right. This is odd. In a 1995 appearance on The Charlie Rose Show, E. Jean Carroll strangely said that women love the idea of a man with a big club dragging them into a cave. Now, she had a conversation, this woman, E. Jean Carroll, with Anderson Cooper of CNN about a month and a half ago. And one of her remarks was, I think most people think of rape as being sexy. So here's Anderson Cooper, who kind of cuts the interview after E. Jean Carroll calls rape sexy. Now, listen, and I wish you could watch this video. Someday I'll figure out how to put videos on my video feed. But listen to what she's doing with Anderson Cooper, by the way, who is gay. And how you tell me what she's thinking with regard to Anderson Cooper, because this gets pretty grotty here.
Victim.
You don't feel like a victim?
I was not thrown on the ground and ravished, which the word rape carries so many sexual connotations. This was not sexual.
Right.
It hurt.
Well, I think most people think of rape as it is a violent assault. It is not.
I think most people think of rape as being sexy.
Mm. Let's take a short break.
Think of the fantasies.
Mm. We're going to take a quick break. If you can stick around, we'll talk more on the other side.
You're fascinating to talk to.
Listen.
We're going to take a quick break. If you can stick around, we'll talk more on the other side.
You're fascinating to talk to.
If you can stick around, we'll talk more on the other side.
Yeah.
You're fascinating to talk to.
Yeah.
Talk more on the other side.
You're fascinating to talk to.
Anderson Cooper, you're fascinating to talk to. Are you kidding me?
Monsieur has been locked!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for listening to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. Live and direct on the SHR Media Network tonight. You want to contact me, you can find me on Twitter at BZEP, at BZEP, my blog at bloviatingzeppelin.net. Promotional consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works and the Boeing Company. If it ain't Boeing, I ain't going. And also by Pratt & Whitney Engines. Thrust, you can trust. Tiaras are by My Little Pony. Thanks to my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team, with whom I shall be concerting in less than an hour. Thanks to Jeff Dunitz for being here in the first hour. Thanks for listening live. Thanks for being in chat. Thanks for listening in podcast. If you're an American trucker, thanks for listening to me live, if you do so, and also in the podcast itself. Tomorrow night, Sackheads Against Tyranny. Folks, God bless, take care, be safe, see you tomorrow night.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Jim Bob.
Good night, and good luck.